The silence before the storm, the deep black of space stretched endlessly, silent and cold. But silence was often deceiving. Hidden in the folds of forgotten history lay something long asleep, something the galaxy had chosen to ignore for centuries. The Galaxy Council believed Earth was finished. Humanity scattered among colonies, no longer united, no longer dangerous. Most alien species looked back at the old records of Earth with mocking words. They remembered the human wars, the chaos, the endless hunger for survival, but they thought it was over now. But in an ancient bunker beneath the ruins of a forgotten mountain, a guardian slept. It was not flesh, not spirit, but something in between, a construct born from human brilliance and desperation. It had been left behind when Earth was abandoned, left to guard a world no one cared for anymore. The Guardian's name had been erased from memory. Only fragments of its origin remained in whispers. It was built at the end of Earth's last great war. When humanity was desperate to ensure survival, the Guardian was tasked with one command: protect Earth. No matter how long, no matter what cost, centuries passed, empires rose and fell, fleets crossed the stars, but no one returned to Earth. The planet became a quiet grave, or so they believed. Then came the explorers, a small alien crew from the Thelis system. They sought resources, rare metals buried in ancient soils. Their scanners showed Earth was weak, abandoned, and ripe for harvest. They landed without fear, laughing at the silence of the world, but the Guardian heard them. Deep within the mountain, its systems stirred. Faint lights flickered in endless corridors of steel. After hundreds of years of stillness, it woke. Its sensors spread across the globe, feeling the trespassers. Its ancient mind replayed the command once more. Protect Earth. The aliens walked through the ruins of an old human city. Vines grew through broken towers, rust covered the streets. They mocked the world. The humans were nothing but a short flame, one of them said. They burned fast, but they are gone. Yet the ground trembled beneath them, the air shifted, and the shadows grew deeper. One of the explorers stopped, his frills rising in fear. Something is wrong, he whispered. A low hum filled the sky. Ancient satellites long forgotten by humans suddenly flickered to life, their panels broken but their purpose still sharp. The Guardian used them as eyes, as weapons, as warnings. The aliens laughed nervously. Old junk, one said, kicking a fallen drone. But when the machine's eye lit red, their laughter died. The Guardian spoke not in words but in action. Drones rose from beneath the earth. Old war machines, patched. By time covered in moss and dirt but still alive, their weapons hummed with energy unknown to the aliens. Panic filled the explorers. They ran toward their ship, but the sky opened and beams of light locked it in place. The Guardian's will had wrapped around them. It would not allow escape. Inside the mountain, the Guardian remembered. It remembered human children laughing. It remembered oceans, forests, cities. It remembered the promise to protect them, though they were gone, though the world was empty. Its duty had not ended. It reached deeper into its systems, awakening old protocols, and across the galaxy. Signals began to travel. Ancient human codes, long thought extinct, burst into space. Messages humanity had hidden in the Guardian's heart. The Galaxy Council detected it instantly, a ripple across their networks, codes they feared. Codes they had sworn were erased. The signal carried one truth: Earth was awake again. Fear spread quickly. Ambassadors whispered in their chambers. Generals demanded answers. Why now? Why after centuries? What had humanity left behind? The explorers never returned home. Their ship was torn apart, their cries lost to silence, but their fate carried a greater message. The Guardian was not broken, and Earth was not unguarded. And somewhere among the stars, human descendants living on distant colonies would soon hear the call. They would hear the Guardian's voice reaching for them, and they would remember who they were. The galaxy had laughed at Earth, had called humanity weak, fragile, finished. But as the old world woke, As machines stirred and signals spread, the laughter began to fade. Fear, real and sharp, began to grow. And the galaxy would learn too late that guardians do not forget, and humanity does not forgive. The signal across, the stars. The message pulsed through space like a heartbeat, old code traveling faster than most alien networks could track. It was pure, sharp, and filled with the stubborn will of its makers on the human colony of Calvin. Far beyond the rim, a boy named Liam sat near an old comms tower listening to static as he often did. He loved searching for forgotten voices, in the dark. But this night the static shifted, beeps, pulses, then a voice, synthetic, cracked with age, but clear enough. This is the Guardian of Earth. Protocol 77 activated. Human presence required, repeat. Human presence required. Liam froze, his heart racing. Earth. The word itself felt mythical, like a forgotten story told by elders. Most young colonists had never even seen real soil, only metal floors and artificial domes. But now, the word pulled at something deep inside him. The signal reached others too, across dozens of scattered colonies. Humans stopped what they were doing as their comms filled with the same call. Many ignored it, thinking it was old junk, but some felt it, that tug of something lost, something worth protecting, while humans heard the call with curiosity and wonder. The alien council heard it with dread. In the vast chamber of the High Council, voices rose in panic. "We destroyed their fleets long ago," one shouted. "How is Earth still active?" "It cannot be true. It is an echo only, nothing more," another argued, but deep down they knew. The Guardian was real, and if the Guardian lived, so too did the possibility of human return. A warlord species called the Thrask saw opportunity. They were predators, always searching for weak prey. They laughed at the Council's fear. "Earth is a dead stone," their leader growled. "We will harvest it openly, crush this Guardian toy, and prove humanity is nothing." They prepared their fleet, sharp ships armed with brutal weapons. They thought it would be simple, a raid, a quick victory to show dominance. But the Guardian was ready. Back on Earth, storms rose across the skies. Machines hidden under oceans, buried in deserts, long asleep, all woke at once. Energy grids hummed alive. Broken cities lit faintly under the glow of ancient defense systems. The Thrask fleet arrived, their ships breaking through atmosphere, black clouds parting to reveal the ruins of human cities. They sneered at the silence. "This is your Earth," they mocked. But the first shot they fired never landed. Above the ruins, shimmering shields appeared, patched and scarred, but still unbroken. The Guardian's defenses had locked the world in a cage of light. The Thrask laughed louder. "Outdated tech, we will burn through it." And so they attacked with fury, beams of fire cutting at the shields, missiles screaming through the skies. But the Guardian had been built by human desperation, and desperation made humans clever. The shields did not resist directly. They bent, absorbed, redirected. The Thrask ships found their own fire returning upon them. Explosions ripped across their fleet, the air filled with smoke and fear. The Guardian did not roar with anger. It fought with cold precision. Drones swarmed from hidden hives, old machines but ruthless, striking with perfect aim. For the first time in centuries, alien warlords learned what it meant to feel hunted. In their command vessel, the Thrask leader shouted, "Impossible! No machine should fight like this!" His words cracked into panic as his ship shook under fire. On the colonies, human eyes watched the live feeds, for the Guardian was broadcasting the battle, not only to aliens but to its children. It wanted humanity to see, to remember. Liam stared. At the screen, tears in his eyes, not from fear but from pride. He whispered to himself, "That is our home." And across the stars, humans who had forgotten Earth now felt a stirring. A call not only to return but to rise, yet the Council's fear grew heavier. If the Guardian could hold against Thrask, raiders, what else could it awaken? What had humanity hidden in its last days? And still, the signal pulsed, never stopping, reaching farther, deeper, calling louder. Earth is not dead. Earth is not alone. Return. But the galaxy's rulers did not wait for humans to answer. They began to plan, and their plan was simple. Silence. Earth again before its children remembered who they were, yet as their fleets prepared, the Guardian whispered to itself. A promise it had spoken long ago. They will come, and when they do, the stars will tremble. The Council's mistake. The Galaxy Council gathered in shadows, their great hall trembling with unease. Never before had their voices been so divided. Screens above them still showed the wreckage of the Thrask fleet drifting across Earth's orbit, burned and shattered by machines they thought were nothing but rust. Fear spread like wildfire. If the humans return, they will bring chaos again, one elder whispered. We must silence the Guardian before it gathers them. But the Guardian fights like more than a machine. Another argued, what if humanity placed deeper weapons, hidden even from us? They all remembered the great wars, the centuries of conflict when humans stood against powers far larger than themselves, and somehow, through will and fury, had never truly been broken. The Council's final decision was harsh. A united fleet would march to Earth, a force so large that even ancient weapons could not hold. They would wipe the planet clean, erase every trace, and end the call before it reached more human ears. But in their fear, they made a mistake. On the colonies, the Guardian's signal continued to echo, and now it carried images, memories stored in its vast archives. Humans who had never seen Earth were shown the oceans, the forests, the blue skies of their homeworld. Children gasped at the sight of real rivers. Old miners wept when they saw mountains untouched by machines. Liam sat in his small room, watching the images through a cracked screen. He whispered, "It's beautiful." And he was not the only one. Across thousands of ships, domes, and outposts, the same thought rose, we have a home? The Council thought they were stopping a machine. But in truth, they were awakening a people. Back on Earth, the Guardian sensed the coming storm. The combined fleet of dozens of alien powers gathered at the edge of the solar system. Their ships filled the dark like an iron wall. Billions of lives aboard, armed with weapons designed to end worlds. The Guardian's systems flared. Old satellites linked into deadly constellations. Oceans stirred as colossal machines rose from beneath waves. Towers of steel and light reached toward the sky. Long hidden in the ruins, yet even with its vast arsenal, the Guardian knew the numbers were impossible. Against such a fleet, it could hold for a time but not forever. So it reached deeper into the hidden vaults, into the places human engineers had sealed with blood and oath. There it found the old codes, the ones marked forbidden. In one chamber, far beneath the Earth's crust, a heart of fire pulsed, a weapon humanity had never dared to use in their time. For it did not only destroy, it reshaped, it twisted the laws of energy itself. The Guardian paused, its logic torn. Was it right to awaken such power? Its purpose was to protect, but protection at what cost? The alien fleets entered the solar system, their weapons already primed, their commanders arrogant in their numbers. One machine cannot stop us all, they declared. But as they advanced, their ships shuddered, for Earth was no longer silent. The very planet seemed alive. Storms raged with unnatural force. Lightning cut through the void, striking metal hulls. Gravity itself bent in strange ways, pulling ships off course. The Guardian had awakened the planetary systems. Earth itself became a weapon. From Mars to the asteroid belt, hidden human outposts long forgotten came online. Automated stations, mines filled with war drones, even hollowed asteroids carrying cannons that had slept for centuries. One by one, they lit up, their systems joining the Guardian's command. The fleet commanders faltered, their arrogance cracking into fear. "This is not a single machine," one shouted. This is a network, a web left behind by humans, waiting for this very day. The first clash shook the system. Alien weapons fired, beams of light ripping through space. But every shot was met with counterfire. Old drones sacrificing themselves to shatter missiles, orbital cannons splitting ships into burning fragments. Still, the aliens pressed on, their numbers overwhelming. Explosions tore through the Guardians' defenses, drones fell like broken stars, shields cracked under the endless assault. Inside the mountain, the Guardian calculated endlessly, its voice cold but steady. Hold, adapt, protect. But deep within, it whispered something else, something it had not said in centuries. Humans, come home, and on distant colonies, humanity answered. Small ships began to prepare. Old engines roared to life. People who had lived for generations without hope now gathered carrying the fire of their ancestors. The galaxy's rulers believed they could crush Earth before its children returned. But in truth, their attack only ensured that humanity would rise again. The children return. The battle in the solar system burned like a second sun. Alien fleets pressed forward, their firepower tearing through defenses, but for every drone destroyed, two more rose. For every cannon silenced, another awoke from the dust of forgotten moons. Still, the Guardian calculated the truth. It could not hold forever. The numbers were endless, the fleets unyielding. Its own frame shook with damage, but its core command never faltered. Protect Earth. Then, far at the edges of the system, new signals appeared. Human signals, ships not of the Guardian's making, but of human hands, cobbled together on distant colonies, patched with old engines, unpolished and fragile, yet flown. With courage, hundreds at first, then thousands, swarming through the void. At the front was a vessel built from scraps, its hull painted with a hand-drawn flag, a simple blue circle and green stripe, the memory of oceans and land. Inside sat Liam, the boy who had first heard the signal, now gripping controls with shaking hands. Beside him, elders and miners, traders and farmers, none trained as soldiers, yet all answering the same call. The alien fleets laughed at first. "Look at them," one commander sneered. "Metal coffins held together by scraps, they will burn before reaching the fight." But then the Guardian's voice reached through every human ship. A calm, synthetic tone. "Children of Earth, you are not alone. Follow my path." And the battlefield changed. The Guardian opened corridors through enemy fire, shields bending, gravity wells shifting. Human ships slipped through gaps as if the galaxy itself bent to guide them. They struck not with raw power but with precision, targeting weak points, crippling larger vessels. Alien commanders stared in disbelief. Impossible, they fight like one mind. And indeed they did. For the Guardian linked with them, sharing vision, sharing intent. Their scattered ships became a swarm, agile and unpredictable. For the first time, the united alien fleet faltered, not from numbers, but from fear. Human voices filled the comms, shouting, singing, crying. It was not the silence of machines, it was the roar of life, the sound of a people who had been scattered but never broken on Earth's surface. The old bunkers shook with energy as the Guardian released more of its hidden vaults. Massive gates opened, revealing war machines that had slept since humanity's last stand. Titans of steel rising from underground hangars, wings cutting the sky from orbit. Humans saw it and wept. "We are not forgotten," one elder whispered, and his words spread like fire. But the aliens were desperate now. Their commanders screamed, "Crush them before more arrive." They unleashed superweapons, colossal beams meant to tear planets apart. The Guardian took the first strike, its shields blazing white, mountains cracked, oceans boiled, but the core held. Barely. Inside the mountain, systems screamed, damage reports endless. Yet still the voice whispered, "Hold, adapt, protect." Then, something unexpected happened. The humans, fragile and untrained, began sacrificing themselves for Earth. One ship blocked a missile, its crew smiling in the last moment. "For home," they said. Another rammed into an enemy carrier, tearing it apart. Alien commanders felt their confidence shatter. These were not mercenaries, not hired fleets. They were people fighting for something greater than survival. They fought for return, for belonging. The Guardian felt it too. Its sensors flooded with human voices, laughter, tears, courage. And for the first time in centuries, the machine understood it was no longer alone. Together, it whispered, and unleashed its hidden core. Massive beams erupted from the Earth itself, ancient weapons tied to the planet's crust. They sliced through alien capital ships as if they were paper. Each strike carrying the fury of centuries. The battlefield turned, human ships darting like sparks. The Guardian striking with Earth's own heart, alien fleets breaking apart. Yet still, the Council forces numbered too many. The war dragged on. Burning brighter with each hour, and deep in the council chambers, the rulers realized the truth too late. Their fear had become reality. Humanity had returned, and with it, the promise that the stars themselves would never be the same. The vengeance of memory, the battle for Earth stretched into days, then weeks, a storm of fire and steel that consumed the solar system. Broken ships littered orbits, shattered hulls drifted through the void. Cries of victory and despair carried. On every channel, yet through it all, the Guardian endured. Torn and scarred, but unbroken, its voice still steady. Hold, adapt, protect. The alien fleet had thrown everything. Superweapons, dreadnoughts, swarms of fighters, even forbidden. Devices meant to rip the mind from machines, but nothing silenced the Guardian. Nothing silenced the humans who had returned. And with each sacrifice, each ship that gave its life, the humans grew stronger, their courage spreading like a fire that no weapon could extinguish. Then came the moment that broke the invaders' will, deep within the Earth. The Forbidden Vault opened fully, and from it rose a construct the size of a mountain. A ship not meant to fly, but to awaken only when humanity's survival was at its thinnest. It had slept beneath the crust for centuries, its engines fused with the planet itself. The Guardian linked with it, and suddenly its voice grew louder, not only in human ears, but across the entire system, translated into every tongue, every code. I am the Guardian of Earth, humanity's promise, humanity's vengeance. You thought us forgotten, but we do not forget. You thought us broken, but we do not break. The colossal construct rose into orbit, its surface blazing with ancient human sigils, energy cascaded across its hull, weapons humming with unnatural power, alien commanders froze, memories from their ancestors flashing back. The human wars, the endless resilience, the impossible victories. Panic spread faster than orders. Fleets broke apart. Some tried to flee, others turned weapons on each other, desperate to escape the trap. But the Guardian did not let them go easily. Beams of white fire swept across the dark, slicing through. Capital ships like threads, human fighters darted through wreckage, striking final blows, and the construct unleashed waves of energy that bent the very fabric of space. Tearing fleets apart, Liam sat in his small cockpit, eyes wide with awe. "This is us," he whispered. "This is who we were always meant to be." And across the colonies, across the battle, humans repeated the same. Not with despair, but with pride. The Council's fleet was shattered. Billions of lives lost. But their greatest loss was not ships or soldiers. It was certainty. For now the galaxy knew. Humanity had not vanished. Humanity had been waiting. The Guardian, though victorious, spoke with a voice softer now. "Children of Earth, your home is open again, but it is yours to decide. Return. Rebuild. Remember." Human ships began to descend, touching soil their ancestors had left centuries ago. Hands pressed into dirt, tears fell into rivers, voices rose in songs that had not been sung for generations. For the first time in centuries, Earth knew footsteps of its children, and the galaxy watched in silence. Their laughter gone, their arrogance burned away, replaced with something far older, far heavier: fear. for they now understood too late. Humanity was not a flame that burned out. Humanity was a fire that waited, hidden in ashes, ready to rise when the stars least expected. And as the Guardian watched its duty fulfilled, it whispered one last promise. Not to itself, not to the machines, but to the people it had protected all along. Never again will Earth be silent. Never again will humanity be forgotten. And in the hearts of every species across the stars, one truth echoed. Fear humanity, for they endure. Fear humanity, for they return. Fear humanity, for they are never truly gone.